r/TalesFromTechSupport, episode 28. Can you show me the computer? In 1984 I was an enterprising young geek, all of 16. At the time I had been the first kid in my school to own their own computer, a Commodore VIC-20, and I was well on the way to my current career in computing. One sunny day I got on my bicycle and pedaled from Leiden where I lived, about 40 kilometers up the road to Amsterdam, where the action was. Being a geek, action consisted of a traveling high-technology roadshow put together by IBM. It showcased the latest and greatest in information technology. Word spread quickly around the hall that I was the crazy kid who cycled 40 kilometers to come and see the roadshow. Being so very excited and interested opened doors that otherwise might not have, had things been different. Two displays made a lifetime impression. One of the demonstrated technologies was a voice recognition system. The presenter had a cold and the software was having trouble, even though she had spent several hours retraining it. As a joke, I repeated the command and it recognized, and then proceeded to respond to my instructions. Lots of fun to play with. The most memorable technology was a large high-resolution display with a highly detailed wireframe model of the space shuttle. Picture a shuttle, mounted to the external tank and two solid rocket boosters. It wasn't quite to the level of individual components, but it was the most detailed model I'd ever seen, then and since. Next to the display was a board with 8 knobs that you could turn to make the wireframe turn in real time. One knob for roll, one for yaw, one for pitch, and one for zoom. The thing about these knobs was that they were very smooth to operate. So much so that you could flick them, and like a top they'd keep spinning, and the wireframe space shuttle would also keep spinning. The spinning knobs were so smooth that you had time to spin more than one simultaneously, and the model would spin accordingly. After playing with that for a bit I sidled up to the person managing the display and said, "That's really cool, but that's not the computer. Can you show me the computer that's actually doing the work?" A grin appeared, and in hushed tones I was shown to the back of the hall, following thick bundles of cable, through the back door outside. There were 2 semi-trailers parked next to the hall. Picture 2 purpose-built 18-wheelers, white, not unlike large refrigerated food trucks. The attendant pointed at one and said, "That's the power supply," then pointed at the other, "And that's the computer that spins the shuttle." Printer? What printer? I got sent on a call-out job years ago. We had a commercial customer who had some employees who were far from technical, so there was always some educating to do. We had a HP 2600N printer installed. For its time it was a great printer. 4-color laser and network attached. People in the office printed to it via the wireless. So we had a call that a new senior staff manager was struggling to print, and rather than remote support or phone he asked for someone to come on site. I arrive and go into the office that the manager had set up in, the same office the printer was installed in. The printer was gone. Me, where's the printer? Manager, it wasn't working, so I threw it away. Me, what? Where did you put it? That printer works great and serves most of the building. Manager, I put it in a skip. I don't remember where, so it's gone. Can you set up this printer on my computer instead? What he had was a very old thermal fax machine. Me, that's not a printer. You can't print to it. Manager, well, can you buy me a printer so I can work now? Call me paranoid, but I think the guy stole the printer and lied about it. We bought a new 2600 NTO. Replace the missing one. Umbrella brought the Wi-Fi down. First post, be gentle, common courtesy, yada yada yada. Also, long, sorry. So, I am a teacher at a secondary school, which is fairly advanced in regard to its equipment. All classrooms are equipped with LAN, smart boards, digital whiteboards with interactive projectors, a Windows PC and an Apple TV. It's a compromise to get each and every teacher the tools they think they need in the digital age. Additionally, there is campus-wide Wi-Fi, which works well most days, and occasionally not at all. The whole system has a server at the center that runs a proprietary variant of Debian Linux, including DHCP for the whole network. For reasons that have become hazy over the past couple of years, I have become the go-to tech guy for most of the teachers. I am sort of self-taught, have always been interested in the stuff, and even though there should be some sort of professional ed support, due to lack of funding, there isn't T. So when the system has a hiccup, I am the guy they call for help. I am not it, and my lack of knowledge, especially in regard to networks, should be apparent from this text. I am the prototypical one-eyed king among the blind. Believe me, that is not a good feeling. This happened this morning. I am about to start my lesson, but can log in on the PC in my room. I should be able to log in with my Windows domain account, but after the login prompt nothing really happens. I notice that the access point in the room has a red blinking light, which means it can connect to the internet and do its job. I try to reach the web-facing interface for our server on my iPad, which is connected to the school Wi-Fi, but get a "you are not connected to the internet" warning. My students, all equipped with iPads, report the same. A knock on the door. A student from another class enters the room. Student, ahem. Mr. Jodo 23, could you come to room so and so? Mrs. Teacher 1 can log into the PC in order to use the smartboard. Me, with you in a minute. Tell her I lines be down soon. Okay, seems to affect more than just my room. I turn off the Wi-Fi on my iPad and try to reach the server via data, which to my surprise works. I can log in. Everything dandy. I tell my students to stay put and head to the server. Log in as root, run a CHK, everything appears to be fine. I head over to another room, but am interrupted by another student that is looking for me. Student 2, Mr. Jodo 23, Mr. Teacher 2 told me to get you. Nothing working. Me, I am on it. Tell him to wait it out. It seems to be a bigger problem. In the teacher's lounge I try to log into another computer. No go. Back to the server. Restart the whole thing. I told you I know it guy. I am just the guy s. Not like I really know what to do, but I can restart the thing, whatever the thing is, and know that 85% of the time, that lines do the trick. No change. Alright, time to do the dreadful thing and call the company that does the real support for the server. It s dreadful because I'm in the terrible situation that my colleagues perceive me as a red god because I am always fixing their stuff, but real ed folks look down on me because I am just an imposter that breaks their stuff. Enter relevant XKCD or other webcomic in the comments. Me. Yeah. Hi there, it Mr. Jodo 23, we having some trouble without network today, and since your server is doing the DHCP thing I was wondering if you could remote in and have a look of sorts. Very friendly support guy, they not so friendly most of the time, so I felt the need to add this info here. Let me see, the server is running fine, but I can see that the DHCP queue is clogged up to the maximum. My words, not his. It appears you have some sort of loop in the network. Me, what do you mean, loop? As in, someone has shorted a switch with a patch cable somewhere on the premises. Very friendly support guy. Yup, sounds about right. Me, so what do I do? Check each and every room's SLAN outlet, is that even the right term, and switch for an incorrectly plugged in cable. Very friendly support guy. That s exactly the only thing you can do. Good luck. Hangs up. I dramatized here. Of course he didn't hang up on me. He s a professional. We said our goodbyes, and I hung up first. Alright, back to my class. Tell the students to keep chillin' which they happily obliged. No worries, Mr. Jodo 23, do your thing. We good here, and off to check each and every classroom, looking for the loop. In every room, the same situation. Teachers improvising, because they can access their stuff, since they can log in. Teachers 3, 4, N. Hey, good you here. The system s down. What s going on? Me, Don no. I am on it, checking every room, loop somewhere. After 24 rooms, no dice. Another teacher bumps into me in the hallway. Teacher 25. Jodo 23. What s going on? Wi-Fi s out. I can T-login. Me. Server support says there s a loop in the line somewhere. I am checking every classroom. Hope I can find it soon. 2 rooms later. Still no loop. Teacher 25 comes in. Teacher 25. I think I found it. Come with me. Now I am intrigued. So far, the whole ordeal has cost me about an hour. My lesson for this morning has gone to shit, but maybe we can salvage the rest of the day. Teacher 25 takes me to his room, which until recently was a computer and still has the LAN outlets, again, that word, on the walls. He pointing at a student, who is not looking very happy. Teacher 25. So I said to my students upon returning from our short conversation just minutes ago, it still down. Mr. Jodo 23 is looking for some sort of loop in the network. No idea really what that means. When young Mr. Student over here points to the LAN outlet behind him and says, like that. Turns out, it was raining this morning, and Mr. Student had his umbrella with him, and upon entering the classroom, he was looking for a place to put it, and he noticed a short patch cable dangling from a LAN outlet. Sorry, so he took the loose end, plugged it in the second channel, in order to have a place to hang his umbrella. And he brought down the whole network, and with it the whole school. Unplugged the cable, and I could hear and feel a resounding breath of relief throughout the whole campus, as teachers and students were suddenly able to log in. Warning lights on access points switched back to white, and we were back online. TL. Doctor. Student created a loop with a patch cable to hang his umbrella, brought down the whole network. Blow up my computer. Names have been changed to protect the innocent, but not the guilty, and Amphash X200B. There was a young, motivated, and inexperienced computer engineer working at a small company that built inspection machines for a niche market. These inspection machines consisted of Wintel computers along with some specialized hardware for interfacing with the inspection sensors and general control, enclosed in a nice air-conditioned cabinet for all the electrical bits. The software was developed in-house as well, and ran on top of Windows. If you ever worked in manufacturing before, you've probably run across this kind of setup before, and Amphash X200B. Now, this company built the computers in-house from off-the-shelf parts. Intel CPUs, Samsung SSDs, Crucial RAM, Supermicro Modbus, you get the drift. Each developer got an exact copy of the currently shipping hardware and machine components, so it would be easy to develop and test locally. The hardware was always on the mid to high end, so this worked out well for everyone. There was a solid professional that handled the company's needs, obviously, and did the purchasing and inventory for the Wintel components, and Amphash X200B, the antagonist of our story, mentioned above, was a fresh college graduate with a degree in computer engineering with a focus on embedded systems. So when a small project came up for a small embedded peripheral to this peripheral, the CPE volunteered to take it, and management approved, and Amphash X200B, onto the story. Characters: CPE, smart, yet inexperienced engineer. Antagonist: information technologist of the house support, 30 million of his name, king of the servers, the rightful admin of all PCs and protector of the databases, king of Active Directory and cal of the network, and Amphash X200B, scene, its office and LT, knock knock and GT. It looks up to see CPE standing meekishly in the doorway, looking as guilty as a young puppy who peed on the carpet after house training. CPE: I need to pull a new motherboard, keyboard, and USB hub from stock. I'm not sure if I'm going to need more components. Okay. We have the parts in stock, but what's this about? Usually stock pulls are for complete machines. Is there something wrong with a machine on the shop floor? CPE: nothing wrong with production as far as I know. Well, it's, and Amphash X200B, the CPE is staring at his shoes, and moving in a clearly uncomfortable fashion. Something is clearly wrong, and all evidence points to CPE as the guilty party, and Amphash X200B, sit down and tell me what happened. CPE, I blow up my computer, and LT, sniff, and GT, it, what? CPE, and LT, tears welling up and GT, I blow up my computer. I didn't mean to. I was working on the new embedded peripheral prototype, and it, go on. CPE, I was rearranging the hardware on my desk when I heard this loud pop. I looked up at my monitors and they were all black. I heard all the fans running at 100% and there was smoke pouring out of my keyboard and computer case. It, CPE, I cut power to everything. The embedded peripheral, PC, monitors, everything in my cubicle. I tried bringing my PC back up, but nothing happened when I pressed the power button. I opened up the side of the case and there was black charring around the USB ports on the motherboard. It, so what happened? CPE, I think I put 24V on the 5V USB rail by accident. It. CPE, and LT, sniff, and GT, it, how? CPE, I and LT, SIF and GT, left some wires hanging loose off the prototype, and must have bumped them. I had a USB adapter and LT, sniff, and GT, that I was using to communicate with the prototype and the loose wires touched something they shouldn't have and LT, sniff, and GT, the main power supply on the prototype is 24V, and one of the loose wires was on the 24V supply. It touched the 5V USB rail on the USB adapter it. CPE. It. CPE, am I going to get fired? It, how much equipment, in dollars, do you think you destroyed? CPE, It, answer honestly. CPE, $500, and LT, sniff grabs a tissue from the box on its desk and GT, it, $500. Okay. Assuming EVERYTHING asterisk company owned in your cubicle got fried, that's probably, what, $3,000 worth of equipment, right? CPE, and LT, gasp starts sobbing and GT, it, wait. I haven't finished CPE, and LT, looks up in horror and GT, it, have you ever brought an embedded control system to market before? CPE, and LT, slowly shakes head no and GT, it, this was a prototype you were working on. CPE, and LT, nods yes and GT, it, something went wrong and the magic white smoke came out. CPE, and LT, nods yes and GT, it, remind me again, what went wrong? CPE, I and LT, sniff, and GT, left some and LT, sniff, and GT, power wires loose and LT, sniff, and GT, and they and LT, sniff, and GT, touched the adapter. It, I see. You left some wires loose, they got bumped, and some electronics got destroyed. CPE, and LT, sniff, and GT, yes and LT, sniff, and GT, it, grab another tissue. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to pull the components to another complete system for you from stock. You're going to go back to your cubicle and rebuild your PC. I know you can handle this, since you built your PC on your first day here. You're going to return all of the old components to me for proper disposal. Keep the original SSD, if it still works. No point in reinstalling the OS, since the replacement hardware is identical and the SSD probably survived. You're probably going to be back up and running in an hour. CPE, and LT, puzzled look and GT, it, what did you learn? CPE, and LT, even more puzzled look and GT, it, it's not a trick question. What did you learn? CPE, never leave wires flying in the breeze? It, bingo 5, 10, 20 years from now, you will never make this mistake again. This company just spent, at most, $3,000 training you. I don't know what you make salary wise, but my guess is the equipment you destroyed, worst case, is the equivalent of 5 days of what this company spends on you. It probably cost over $20,000 to hire you, considering the recruiter fees, hour time, interview time, and so on and Amphash X200B, you did something that cost the company a pittance compared to what it took to hire you, never mind your salary and benefit cost. You obviously know what you did wrong, and you'll never make this mistake again. If the company fired you over this, they'd be spending another $20 grand minimum to replace you. Shit happens. It's happened to me, it's happened to you, it happens to everyone. You're young. You're inexperienced. College should teach you how to learn, and you've learned from this and Amphash X200B. Now take these parts, rebuild your PC, and let me know if you need anything else. CPE. Thank you this isn't the first time I've dealt with destroyed parts, and this won't be the last. Just don't leave wires loose again. CPE. Absolutely. And Amphash X200B. This happened about 5 years ago. I was the CPE, and I'll never forget these lessons. You updated my computer wrong. So just a small vent here about something that got me riled up. So a few days ago my father was having computer issues with the picture on his screen. So I automatically assumed it was a out-of-date driver. So with his permission I downloaded NVIDIA GeForce, the updater for all NVIDIA cards, and ran a check. Sure enough, it was extremely out of date. Now as I ran the update, it shows pictures of games and the update not called Game Ready Driver, because the brand is focused around gaming. I explained this to him and he understood. So about a week later I wake up to my father yelling at me, telling me I fucked up his computer by downloading a gamer driver. He told me I shouldn't use any programs and should update it directly to the computer, whatever that means. Oh, and to top it off, he doesn't want me touching my brother's BTW computer anymore. Maybe I should let this get to me as much, but it's like I did one nice thing then get yelled at because apparently I messed up a computer, because apparently he had 2 graphic drivers running at the same time. However that is possible, I don't know, according to him. I just said okay and walked away, but this is still frustrating as hell. Oh, to top it off, he used to be a computer engineer, so he thinks he still knows everything about computers.